Okay, and we're live. It's been a long, long, long time. Um, Life, uh, as he says, finds a way. So it's been a long time coming. And yeah, we're back. Dave and Ryan review. Back to review. It's going to be probably end up being the biggest film of all time.
Uh-huh.
A good way to round off the original six Avengers story in the MCU. And we're going to be reviewing Avengers Endgame. So anyway, welcome back, Dave.
Yeah,
How's it going?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're in
Should
the
we
end game
just?
now.
Yeah, we. Yes, we are. Shall we just dive straight in?
Let's go for
Um,
it. Let's just
let's go for it.
nothing
So
planned. Let's see what we
yeah,
can come up with.
yeah, it's a little bit unplanned. We just got a little bit excited listening to some of our old reviews, and we thought we'd do it again. So this film is the sort of culmination
Spoilers,
of,
obviously.
huh?
Spoilers, obviously.
Oh yeah, tons of spoilers. Like if you haven't seen it by now, then it sucks to be you, sort of thing. Um, this film is a culmination of 11 years of the MCU, starting with Iron Man all the way up to now. Brings together all the story pieces from all those films, all the character moments. There's so much in this film. It's a 3 hour film. It is a long film. Um, I went to see it on the day it opened on the Thursday. I ended up seeing it twice that day. I very much enjoyed it. I'll give my sort of thoughts on the film. I thought it was excellent. I thought that to manage that many characters, to manage the situation that they left in Infinity War in a way that didn't feel like a cop out. It felt like they had to struggle for it. They had to work for it. It wasn't easy, and they didn't just get it handed to them on a plate. And the work they did, the method they used came with its own consequences. And yeah, it was just, I thought it was thoroughly enjoyable from start to finish. I know some people had a problem with maybe the middle bit, but I loved all of the planning, all of the time travel stuff. I'm a sucker for time travel movies and in film, especially when it's done well. So yeah, that's sort of my overall thoughts on it. What were your feelings on it, Dave?
Yes, I absolutely loved it. This is what I said at the time, and I still feel it now. I say it's a 10 out of 10 movie. However, you can pick it apart to bits, but that won't bring down my score.
Mm.
Um, Obviously, time travel. There's so many problems with it. They created a new type of time travel in this film that has never been done in other films, and it worked as well as it could have done, and whatever. But no, I love this film. So many emotions, so many goosebumps. I was
Mm.
crying in the cinema. My wife was looking at me in disgust. 33 grown man, just absolutely lapping it up, and yeah. So Marvel, just thank you. Amazing. We're loving all of it.
Yeah, it was a strange experience for me. I don't really get emotional in the cinema, but I cried when all those when the portals all opened. There was just something about seeing them all gather for
Mm.
what probably felt like the final time. All of those characters all on screen that we've been with all this time, and and the music was unbelievable. The way it looked was just ridiculous. Like,
Mm.
just amazing. All the different people coming back, people that were dead, people that were in a bit of trouble. Giant Man busting out the Avengers HQ with Hulk and with War Machine and Rocket and then
Yeah.
Cap. Oh man, just there's so many bits. I'll
It
pick
was
out some.
so well done with the build up because Hulk obviously snaps to bring everybody back, but as soon as he does it, Thanos blows up the Avengers
Mm,
base. And I remember being in the cinema like, what? And I sort of stepped forward, and it makes you forget that he's brought everybody back.
yeah,
Uh,
you forget that that's actually happened.
and then
Um,
you're so in the battle, and you get blown away by the Captain America, Mjolnir.
Oh, don't even get me started on that. I was just, there was chills all over me when that happened. I sort of thought it was going to happen as soon as Thor, um, brought Mjolnir back from Thor: The Dark World timeline into this timeline. I was pretty much convinced that Cap was going to pick it up, especially as everyone thought it was going to be his last one, and it might turn out to be that way. And when he picks it up, and you're like, "Oh my goodness!" I remember the second time I saw it, a person actually dropped all their popcorn all over the floor because he basically jumped out of his seat when Cap picked up the hammer, and
Yeah.
the place was just like, whoa, like I loved it.
So going kind of off topic, but not really. Obviously, in Age of Ultron, he tries to pick up the hammer and doesn't.
Yeah.
And then now he is. So it's like, how is he not worthy, but now he is? There's two theories. One has been confirmed by the Russos as he was always worthy. He just didn't want to do it then. I'm not really happy with that. In my head, I'm going to choose the story of he wasn't worthy because of Tony's parents. And when sorry to Tony at the end of Civil War, he then became worthy. I think that makes more sense to me, but I don't know. What do you think about all that?
Yeah, I'm obviously, for the official story, you have to go with the directors. That's what they want to say. As you said, I'm not sure if I'm buying it that he could have done it at the time and just decided not to. I just feel like it doesn't. Why would he not do it?
Why would you pretend to pick it up and do it?
Yeah, I prefer just that he, because of that secret that he was basically keeping at the time, that he decided not to, that he couldn't pick it up. He was nearly worthy, and then once he had done that, he became worthy. But the term worthy is quite nebulous. What is it? What does that really mean? Because obviously in Thor, the first one, he became worthy by sort of stop being such an arrogant arse, and then sort of sacrificed himself even when he didn't have any powers and things like that. He became worthy. So it's like, what does that mean? It's a very nebulous term, so they can sort of get away with it. So there's no, you can.
I don't think there's any. There's no. It's not. He's not unworthy. Like in keeping the secret of Tony's parents doesn't make him a worse person. Like,
yeah,
I totally see why he didn't. If I was in his position, it would be hard to sort of, not tell him.
No, definitely. That's what I'm saying. They've got a little bit of wiggle room with the term worthy. What does it really mean? How does someone become worthy? What did Odin, because Odin put that thing on, what did he really mean when he said it? Is his intentions, his definition of worthy? So there's so many things you could, there's so many things you could say that by Cap putting everything on the line, in Endgame, that's when he became worthy. It could be anything. It could literally mean anything.
And you got to think, going into that battle, he's faced Thanos once, and he, held him up and got punched in the face, and then he was basically out. So he's pretty brave to go up against him. I know he's got his shield back, but yeah, I mean, going back to what I was going to say, you get so drawn into the battle of everything, you forget everybody's come back, and then when he's standing there against that army after his shield's been smashed and beaten down. I remember the feeling I had in the cinema, looking at the Chitauri army, looking at all the other armies, all these, Thanos there with his blade, whatever. And I remember thinking, what's he going to do? He's going to get swarmed and he's going to get killed by all these people, and then just out of the blue, on your left.
Oh yeah, so good.
Every day from watching that scene, with the music. Chris Evans' acting at that point is unbelievable because you just believe he's just like, thank you, God.
Because he looks at Black Panther, doesn't he? And he's just like, thank them. Like, he's just relieved, so relieved that they're here.
Yeah.
And he's not alone. And even though he was going to do it, but, he needed some help. And yeah, just unbelievable finale. You've got that whole set piece, amazing, so many different bits in it, so many different little, I think I teared up at the Gamora Star-Lord reunion, and then obviously
I didn't, because I knew she wouldn't know who he was. So I was a bit like I definitely felt their love more in Infinity War. You know,
Yeah, no,
which,
definitely.
which I like. I do like their love story. I'd be interested in Guardians 3, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And they've obviously come out today saying Thor is in the works. So yeah, it was just it was so many different moments, and obviously it culminated in the main man, the godfather of the MCU, the biggest character in the MCU, the biggest actor in the MCU, Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark, stealing the stones off of Thanos as Thanos is about to click, gives him the old switcheroo, and then gives him the old "I am Iron Man" bang, and it was just like, wow.
Even that I didn't see coming at the time, because I was like, I remember my wife grabbed my arm when he said, I am inevitable. And it's like, oh, this guy, he's an absolute SOB, right? He was
He did feel inevitable, didn't he? He just felt unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, let's pick out some moments maybe of controversy. First, I'd say like Captain Marvel.
Yeah, she was pretty OP. I mean, it's not her fault as such, but the power scaling they've given her, the level of power she's got, sort of dwarfs everything. Not even, and the only person that might be able to take her on is like Thor, maybe. Yeah. At his peak, not fat Thor. Like, he's not going to be able to do it, but peak Thor might be able to take her on.
I think what what I felt with Captain Marvel is, she was basically not really in the film, and I think they did that deliberately because of how she was received in her own movie. I don't know if you felt that.
I don't know, maybe partly. I think they've sort of painted themselves into a little bit of a hole by making her so powerful. Like she's. I mean, at the end of, obviously we're skipping over films here. In Captain Marvel, I'm pretty sure at the end of the film, she basically flew at light speed. And I'm like, what? Because at that point, what's the point of anyone else? If you've got someone that can literally fly at light speed, I mean, you might as well just get her just flying at light speed at people's faces, like, because they're not going to be able to beat that. And the fact that she held off Thanos holding all 5 stones with one hand and didn't even flinch. You compare, and I've seen some people like, oh, well, if it was a man, people were right. I don't think so. I think the only comparison you can have is the Tony fight in Infinity War, where he's taken on Thanos and he's got 3 stones, 4 stones at that point.
Yeah.
And he's taking him on, and he's given everything just to stay alive. And then Thanos even says, all of that for a drop of blood. Is that it? Is that all you got? And that was 4 stones. And this is Iron Man. Yeah. And in this, she's literally taken on Thanos with all 6 stones in his hand, and she's just holding them off like it's nothing. And I think for me, that just felt a little bit like, it's like, if that is her power level, and if that's the legit thing, she's too powerful for anyone. There's no, if she is that powerful, no other threat will ever. Who's going to beat Thanos with 6 Infinity Stones?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it'll feel a little bit hollow when she's just like thinking she's in danger. Like, she's never going to be in danger ever. It's a bit like Superman. Like, it's just too powerful. Like, it's too much. Like, you sort of have to depower them a little bit to allow other people to take a little bit of shine, because otherwise it'll be like, Captain Marvel, can you just sort that out over there? Thanks, cheers.
Yeah. And it makes you think, it makes the women team up thing even worse, really, when you think about it.
She doesn't need any of them.
Yeah, just go up and then go down to where,
or just fly at light speed. Like she doesn't need any of them. It makes those guys like idiots, because it's like, I don't need them. Just fly straight for them all. So yeah, it was a bit. It's just she for me is, I don't particularly like the power. I don't mind the characters, fine. I just think the powers are just, they've gone, like, everyone was sort of at a level, and then obviously there was Thor, but he still seemed vulnerable. He still got beat. We've seen him get beaten up plenty of times, like loads of times get beaten up.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas she feels like a level above that, and it's like, whoa, like this is crazy. So we'll see how they go forward. I think that might put them in some sticky situations, because why wouldn't she just punch them in the face and end
it's kind of like how people see Superman. He's like too powerful.
Yeah, it's a bit boring. I love Superman, but I get the point.
Marvel has less personality than Superman.
At this point, well, to be fair, we've only seen her in one film, well, two films, but she hasn't had much to do. And in that first film, she was still sort of like a alien, like killer, mercenary person, and so she was still trying to figure out who she was. So maybe in the second one, that personality comes out a little bit more. She's a little bit more likable, a little bit more warm. But you don't know. She just, I think it'll be interesting to see how they go forward with her. I feel like a team up for her, the way that Hulk and Thor, and I hope that we see some more team ups, and I hope she maybe teams up with someone else. I don't know who, maybe a Doctor Strange. I don't know. He's trying to bring her more into the fold. Yeah, just bring her into the fold and get her bouncing off someone else. So that was a bit. I know some people, again, with time travel, like I guess the bit Tony figures it out pretty quickly. You could say,
I think the rat is
well, I don't know. Like it's the odds of all of it. I think that's sort of the point, isn't it? I mean, the rat letting him out 5 years later. Okay, I get it. It is a lucky thing, but that's sort of the point, isn't it? All of it is a bit. If it never did, you got to think never go back
on a bigger scale than that. Why didn't someone turn that van off when they confiscated it? Just let it all. Yeah. But
Well, why didn't? Yeah, you know what I mean. So there's a few bits, but some of it you've got to say, well, okay, if the rat never turns up, then the film doesn't happen. That's the end of it. So you've got to allow for some of that stuff, and the same with the Tony bit. Like, I guess I heard someone was like, I want to see him like try and fail and try and go back in time. It's like that would have taken up like 10 minutes of a film just to see him attempt and fail at time travel. But did we need that? I don't know. Maybe maybe that could have added something, but I'm fine with not having to see, because we don't know how long he was working on it. We just saw him solve it. So you've got to assume that from the time they left, it could have been days, it could have been hours, it could have been who knows. It doesn't say how long it is. You can sort of guess maybe it's a few, maybe like 5, 6, 7, 8 hours or something that he does it. This is Tony Stark. He's creating nanotech. They'd already given him the idea. Scott had already given him the idea and how to do it. They have the quantum tunnel now, but they thought it was just So I can see why people were annoyed, but I was fine with it. Some people didn't like the actual time traveling bit. They explained the time. They explained the time traveling perfectly. Everything was perfectly explained. You go back in past, it doesn't affect the future. You can't affect the future because the future is now your past, and now the past is now your future. So you can't affect. How can you affect? Yeah. So you can't do it. So it's basically in a different. You've gone into a different timeline, basically. I enjoyed seeing the old Avengers, Cap versus Cap. That was cool. There were some really good moments with the Hail Hydra, where he's in the elevator, and you think he's about to fight again, as in Winter Soldier, and he just gives him the old Hail Hydra and walks out, and he gives a little smirk. And then there's Cap versus Cap, Bucky's alive, that's good, and that is America's ass. It's just there's really good moments in there.
I quite enjoyed, even little cameos from Robert Redford.
Amazing. Amazing.
All the guys
in a lift. Yeah, it just adds so much to it.
The attention to detail that, if you've not seen Winter Soldier, then that's
some of that stuff is lost to me.
You've not seen bits in Ragnarok or whatever. But it's like watching every single film actually is like you can't just miss one.
Mm. Yeah, and then obviously from there, Tony fails. So everyone basically succeeds except for, well, I say succeeds. That Black Widow passes. She has to sacrifice herself to get the Soul Stone. So
I wasn't that sad at the time when that happened.
I'm more sad now than I was in the cinema. I was like, I just want to see what Cap and Iron Man up to.
Over time, actually, what she did. But
and
like going to Vormir, lucky that it was those two, wasn't it? Because if it was Nebula and
Rhodey,
War Machine, it's like
doesn't mean anything. Yeah.
I don't love you. Sacrifice anything right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was all very well done how they got it. Tony seeing his dad was amazing.
Well, yeah. So then we'll talk about. So obviously Tony fails his mission to get the Tesseract. They have to go back again into the past to a place that has a stone and some pin particles. So they go back to 1970 or whatever. Yeah, as you said, Tony meets his dad. Again, another cameo that we've seen. We've seen this guy.
Michael Douglas, young.
Yeah, you see Michael Douglas for a bit as young Hank Pym. Great little cameo.
Ant-Man helmet, the proper one.
Yeah, you saw the original Ant-Man helmet. You see the pin particles. You see Cap then go and get the pin particles. He then tries to hide, and then this is where sort of quite a big turning point for him. So he takes multiple pin particles. So I'm going to say, in which order did this happen? Did he get the pin particles and then see Peggy? Or did he see Peggy get the pin particles?
It's at the same time, pretty much.
So, the reason I'm saying which one comes first is because obviously he decides that he's going to go and spend the rest of his life with Peggy at that point when he sees her. He sees that it's real. And it's like, oh my goodness, this woman is still here. And so obviously use it. So there are some spare pin particles. Tony has a final moment with his dad and just says, my dad did his, he has a nut and he hugs him, which is really funny because Howard Stark's like, who the hell is this? And he's like, oh yeah, sorry. And then you actually see another cameo from someone that was in a Marvel TV show who played Jarvis in that Marvel TV show. So you see that as well, which is really good. He played Jarvis in the Agent Carter TV show. So that was a really good cameo. That was an excellent cameo. And then obviously they make it back. As I said, they have all the stones, like you said earlier. Hulk clicks, everyone's back. End of the film. Obviously, we have Tony's funeral, which is emotional. You see all those characters there.
Even when after he's Iron Man, when you see Cap,
you
see Cap crying. That's like, wow, he really is sad about this.
And Tony's final moments with Peter Parker, with Rhodey, with Pepper Potts, that felt the right people to be there.
Yeah, in that sort of order as well. Apart from Happy, but
that's the only person you might have added in, but obviously he's not going to be on that battlefield.
Or Morgan, but you get good moments with them later and at the funeral.
Yeah. And then we get to the funeral, and then basically every character in the MCU is basically there.
So I was going to ask you this: did you recognize the teenager? Obviously, we know who it is now. Did you recognize it at the time?
Yes.
Oh wow, impressive! Because I sort of was like, I don't know who that is, and then I had to sort of go. Oh,
so that's because the only reason I knew that at the time was because I think last year there was a rumor that this kid from Iron Man 3 was showing up in.
Do you think if you hadn't seen that spoiler, do you think you would have worked it out? Because I just
probably
I didn't even think it looked like it.
And again, the reason why is because I'd seen those films fairly recently. I rewatched all the MCU films before Endgame, so I felt I probably would have recognised them just because I'd seen it quite recently. But yeah, it was an obscure one. Obviously, there are, Thunderbolt Ross is there, and all the Guardians are there, and Michelle Pfeiffer with Michael Douglas, Hank Pym, and what's this with Janet? Is it Janet? Something, yeah, I think so. They're there. Hope's there, obviously, with Ant-Man. Like, everyone is there. It's a really great scene. Emotional. Not much. There's no talking really. Obviously, like you said, you have a good Happy and Morgan moment, which is really good.
Did
And
you know
then
that? Did you know that Peter Parker, Tom Holland, was told it was a wedding? So
no, I heard they were all told it was a wedding.
yeah, so he was there going, "Oh, where's Tony?" Like, like
It's like, oh, whoops. Yeah, because I think it was one of the first things. I think they said that's one of the first things they filmed for Endgame. I think
that's what makes it so good as well. Is that not even the actors knew the story, because
yeah,
people like Mark Ruffalo give it away. Tom Holland can't resist, just because they're so excited about how incredible it is. Which is, I think I would be pretty like, oh yeah, I'll just tell one person. I will just, and they're like, no, we're not taking a chance with anyone. We're just going to keep it nice and hidden, so that it's a surprise for everyone.
no, definitely, and
they even filmed different scenes like that they didn't put in the film just to throw them off the scent.
No, and it's the right way to do it because it keeps everyone on their toes. Hopefully keeps all the secrets in. Nothing leaked before I'd seen it anyway, and I really enjoyed the fact that basically I didn't really know what was going to happen. Do you know what I mean? So it was good in that sense. And then we get to the final bit. Obviously, we're jumping around a little bit here. We get to that final bit. We see Cap going back in time. At the time, when I first saw it, I thought that's a weird goodbye he had with Bucky. Because he says something. It sounds more like a final goodbye.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna miss you or whatever.
Like, he's like, yeah, I'll be fine. Don't worry about me, or something like that.
Everything's gonna be okay.
Everything's gonna be okay. Don't worry about And it was like I remember at the time thinking that's a weird goodbye because he just says like, "Oh, laters" to the other guys basically. And obviously,
something was up, but you wouldn't have been able to tell what happened.
So I was like, what? I thought something. That's a weird one. Anyway, just you're watching the scene, and obviously, Bucky had, obviously, Cap had told Bucky that he was going to stay in the past. So what happens, obviously, is we see he goes and he doesn't come back.
Well, he does, but we don't see it.
We don't see him come back. He doesn't come back to the same spot. We then cut behind us, and here he is, old man Cap, supposedly over 100 years old. Now, at the time, everyone was like, oh, wait a sec, how does that make any sense? How is he back in this timeline? Because we know that you can't affect this timeline. So you can assume that he jumped into this other alternate timeline, lived his life with Peggy. There were two Caps in that timeline. One that was still on ice when he got back to Peggy. The other one, obviously, as him. He lived his life, maybe waited till Peggy died, and then lived past the moment that he left, and then jumped back into that timeline to get there because he had extra pin particles. We also had seen earlier in the film that you can do that without a pad. You don't have to go on that specific pad to get back into a different timeline. We saw it in the film when they went back to the 70s. We saw that how that works.
I forgot about that.
So we'd already seen it. So I think that's probably the best theory. I think the problem is that the Russos and the writers both have different theories about it. So I wonder if they're doing that.
Too much, it'll make you go a bit mental, but that's what I mean. You just let it be what it is.
Yeah, let it be.
So for me, that Cap bit, it didn't see it coming. I was already I don't want to say exhausted from the film because that's the wrong word, but just I'd been rewarded so much up until that point, and then you couldn't have wrapped the film up any better, really.
I think it was quite a nice moment, obviously passing the shield to Falcon. Me personally, would have liked to have seen Bucky given the shield, but can understand why Falcon gets it. Bucky's still probably getting over his, whole mental breakdown thing.
He probably will get it later on.
Yeah, maybe get it. He'll maybe get it later.
We've seen him with the shield, kind of, as well.
Sort of. But and then obviously, Falcon asks him, you going to tell us about that?" And he's like, "Nah, I don't think I will." And I feel like they've left it very much open for Chris Evans to come back at some point later on when he's, when he's had a rest, when he's got away from it a bit more, to come back and tell those stories, of him going back in time. I think that's.
It's better not knowing. So
I think it's better not knowing, but I think they've left that open in case they want to do something later on.
I love what they did. It just made Captain America like a 10 out of 10 character for me. Whereas
he'd always been that for me. Like, I think we'd had that different opinion on him from the beginning, but I'm glad that you're now on board with him.
Yeah, definitely, because of this film. It just it was incredible. So shall we just wrap up?
I think you can tell. Yeah, final thoughts. I think you can tell from both of us, we really, really enjoyed this film. Again, for me, 10 out of 10. I can't wait to get it. I'm going to get the 4K Blu-ray and melt my eyes with the film. My wife wants to see the film again, which probably tells you that it's a good film. It's 3 hours, and my wife, who doesn't have the best attention span, wants to sit down and watch it again. So I think you can tell that it was a good film if a normal person who isn't particularly into this stuff wants to sit down and watch that for 3 hours. So I think you can say it's a triumph for them. And obviously we had Far From Home, which was like an epilogue as such for the MCU. And I think we're pretty close, Dave. I think either they're announcing today the next set of films in the MCU. So it'll be interesting to see how they go forward with that as well. So maybe we can do a little rundown of that as well. But what were your final thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, everything I said with my opening still stands, and it's just one of those things. Yeah, can't wait to see it again, and just pick out little moments, little scene. Every scene was good. There's if I start going into it, even things like Ant-Man didn't get a mention. Unbelievable acting as well.
He was pivotal. He was one of my favorite characters in the film. Him and Rocket.
Yeah. Just even Chris Hemsworth and Robert Downey Jr. just unbelievable. Morgan, and there's just so many things we could go into scene by scene and talk about it hours by hours. Like we could do another review on this, no problem. I'd be happy to, but just wrapping it up, obviously. 10 out of 10. Can't wait. See it again.
That's a really good point. That there's so many bits we didn't even talk about, and like you said, the performances, just everything, the way it looked, the CG, everything was just 10 out. Everyone brought their A game, and it was really, really well done. So, excellent. And I think that wraps it up for this time. Hopefully, it's not going to be well over a year to our next one, because I think I forgot how much I enjoyed this. And obviously, I think, and to be fair, it's quite interesting. We both sort of do it just because we like listening to each other talk. Let's we'll plan another one. I don't know what we'll think of something. Maybe we'll do a controversial one. And I think I know a film. I know a film that maybe we have a different opinion about, Dave. But
no, I don't know about
that. I think we do. But I think that would be a good one. But as preparation, I might actually have to watch it. So I haven't seen that film for a very long, probably since I saw it at the cinema.
Okay.
So I'll watch it, and then I think we'll have to have a chat about that one. I think that could be quite
watch it together, even. But yeah, okay.
Oh Jesus!
I think I need to. I don't want to ruin our friendship. We've decided up to see you. I have to block that out.
I think it'll be good. I need to watch it mine. I'm not sure if I could watch it with you because I don't want to annoy you, and also I don't want you to annoy me about the film. I think I just need to watch the film. When we come together.
If we're going to do that, then I want to review the 1997 Godzilla.
All right, that's fine. I need to watch that again. I haven't seen that for a long time.
All right, man.
But yeah, all right. So long for now.
Cool.
See ya.